Okay. Oh, we weren't live. Okay, great.
No,
So
now
all
we are
my bad.
live. Hello, everyone. Hello, Marc. Good afternoon.
Hello, Matteo. Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening, night,
Or happy
whatever.
online. As my manager like to say, good online. Since you never know where is in the world are the people we are talking with. He says good online. So
Good online is not too bad. I
no,
think
indeed, I like it as well. Yeah, it's starting to become part of my routine. So
plus, I mean, you can't even tell them like good offline because then you wouldn't talk to them. That's
that's a very good point.
so I like
So,
that. Tell your
yeah, so
manager.
today you realize that we decided to do a comedy skit instead of a technical presentation. So,
Okay. No,
no,
I wasn't
joking
prepared.
aside, so the goal of today, we would like to resume one of the topics we discussed the last time. So, in case you didn't see the
PowerPoint?
previous surprise, in case you didn't see our previous episode, last time we talked about the Microsoft Research Summit. And we went through some interesting presentations and topics around AI, around IoT. One of the topics was the metaverse. Last time we talked about the metaverse more from a philosophical perspective, I could say, because it was more about the future of metaverse for gaming, metaverse for enterprises. Today, if I'm not wrong, instead we are going to talk about the metaverse in a more practical and technical way, right, Marc?
I think so. And
Oh, well, okay.
oh yeah,
Well,
so
since you're going to present the topic, it
oh yeah.
inspires me a lot of confidence that you think so. So,
Well, you could be because that's one topic I've been working on a lot in the last, let's say, 6 months. Well, not really 6 months, but almost. So no, well, our history with the metaverse or mixed reality, as we call it, goes goes a long time back, actually, to 2018, right? When we started helping game studios introducing Windows mixed reality, moving over to Windows mixed reality. And we also get our feet wet with HoloLens 1 development back then. So yeah, and since then I've been on and off
how to
working
forget
with
Gamescom? So,
oh yeah. Oh. Since then I've been working on and off with mixed reality and a lot in the last, I don't know, like 1.5 years or something, since our App Consult team is officially supporting mixed reality partner program and mixed reality in general. And today's topic is going to be now we need to do drum roll and you need to put in my screen share about mixed
drum
reality
roll.
development made easy with StereoKit. So the reason why I have a presentation ready is obviously because I am very well prepared for today's podcast. But in all seriousness, I had delivered this session today at the Tech Summit Nigeria, albeit in a more shorter version. However, I'm not
Willingly shorter.
yeah, I'm not going to do the entire official talk and script. So I more or less go through the interesting slides, talk a bit. We'll probably wait for Matteo's intelligent questions around steering.
Well, wait.
All right, so let's quickly start. So so we have this very handsome guy here that is well known, but I think
I
you
guess
all know him and love
there are
him.
two options here, or either in this slide we will have a peak of viewers, or a sudden
Definitely.
drop. So I
No, no,
would
no, no, no. It will have a peak of viewers and obviously subscribers. But anyway, it's not about this guy. It's about the metaverse mixed reality. So
I like the definition.
yes. Well, the definition of mixed reality is basically what we are defining since, I don't know, like 2018 or something. So basically, we blend in physical and virtual world together. So basically, all the objects can coexist in a sense. So let's say you have a physical table and put on a virtual cup. Well, that's actually the worst combination, but
I have to say that I'm not working on mixed reality since a while, but this definition and this slide are exactly the same I was using a few years ago. So I like that not everything has completely changed.
Well, yeah, so this is probably not the official slides we are using. Well, they look a bit different, but they still talk about the same concept. And this is basically the mixed reality spectrum that we see today, right? So we have physical reality, mixed reality, we have the different devices and the different use cases of AR and VR today. They are not, well, they're still not really, let's say we don't have many use cases left and right, literally, because on the AR side, we have the expensive devices, and on the VR side, we have the less expensive devices, but only the consumer-centric use cases. So that's kind of like the spectrum which mixed reality intends to span with all the different headsets and the single view, holistic view of these things. Obviously, we need to talk about the devices itself. We do have the AR or physical or see-through devices, which would be, for example, the HoloLens, which is a portable device, or the Magic Leap 2 device. There are also wired AR headsets. They are usually used in, I don't know, like fighter planes or something like that. So I didn't have the chance to get my hands onto one of those yet. On the other side, like on the opaque side, we have the classic VR headsets, like the Windows Mixed Reality headset we both know and love. We have the Index or the Pimax 8K. And then Oculus or Meta has introduced the wireless head-mounted displays or opaque headsets. And with the Quest 2 or even further with the Quest Pro, they have introduced this see-through capabilities. Because in the HoloLens, if you look at this, with HoloLens, you can directly see through the glass, and this the holograms are being rendered in front of your eyes on these waveguides, like these glasses with lasers on top and so on and so forth. With the Oculus Quest Pro and the Quest 2, they are using or leveraging the cameras that are built into the devices, and they are high definition cameras. So the image that you see is image quality is pretty good compared to the, light. There is something similar on Windows Mixed Reality, which gives you the image from the black-white infrared cameras. I don't know what.
I think on Windows Mixed Reality, they were used primarily for the tracking of the room.
Yes.
I remember that one of the biggest selling points of the first Windows Mixed Reality set compared to I think it was the original Oculus. Is that before these headsets, you needed these
light towers.
These lighthouses placed around the room to track the room. With Windows Mixed Reality headset, they were using the webcams to track the room and avoid having these things around.
Definitely, and the Index is still using this technology. The latest Oculus devices do this tracking as well. But what I was referring to is, you can, even on Windows Mixed Reality, you can leverage the cameras to do some see-through. So you basically see your surrounding even when you have the headset mounted. It's in black-white on Windows Mixed Reality, and on the Oculus, it's, well, probably not like the real, like as it would be in real, but the quality is as good that you can at least see the content on the screen. So you can basically have a type code with your headset on, which is pretty impressive. But I'm not, I mean, obviously that's a neat device, but I'm not doing any advertising for Oculus yet, unless you send me an Oculus Quest Pro.
I didn't think. I think there were some noise in the background, some disturbance.
Oh yeah, that was Meta dropping a package here in front.
Okay. Well,
No, anyway.
it seems that Meta is not an amazing shape these days. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I can afford sending you a free VR headset. So.
Well, I'm not an employee, right? And they're saving a lot on. Well, no. Okay. Anyhow, so with all the stuff we discussed before, we have a few challenges especially for the mixed reality development, right? So we have this fragmented hardware, we have expensive hardware, we have different paradigms for content creation, be it you have new roles in the development team, or you have different user experience concepts. And obviously all this results in bigger or higher time to deployment. So an app takes longer to be released. And also, I mean, obviously, if more people are involved and if developing an application takes longer, this results in higher costs. So right now we are in a stage, which is because I've been extensively doing mobile development since 2008. This reminds me actually of the state of the mobile development between 2008 and 2013, 14. So yeah, I guess it will get better at some point. I hope it will get better at some point because the technology is not too bad. So this is basically just the introduction, and let's jump into StereoKit, because StereoKit is something pretty neat. It's a code-first, lightweight mixed reality engine that is developed by Nick Klingsmith. It's built around an intuitive API and brings code-first, mixed reality-friendly UI and a mixed reality interaction system for AR, VR, and even flat screen scenarios. So flat screen means obviously desktop scenarios. Nick started building this engine back in 2019 and released the first version into the wild in 2020. And StereoKit gained really a lot of attention earlier this year when Nick did his fantastic sessions at the Mixed Reality Dev Days in Redmond. He had 3 sessions. They were all really good, and they are on YouTube. So if you're interested, watch them. And they also had a hackathon around mixed reality and StereoKit. So that was pretty good. And this gave StereoKit another uptick in users, in users. So basically, this is a very simple demo highlighting all the features of StereoKit. As you will see, you had the interaction with all the joints for the fingers. You have a simple menu, or you have simple UI already with radio buttons, sliders, buttons. You can drag the images, the UI around. You have colors that you can apply dynamically to things. You can also, so you have physics built in, as you can see here. This is those are objects that are being loaded, or instances of objects being loaded. Then you have a file picker, which is pretty amazing, and dynamic asset loading, which is, well, I know to say unheard, but it's quite, so Unity does not have this. You have shaders, lighting, not lightning, well, lightning maybe at some point, and different hand gestures. There is, so it's based on OpenXR. So you have this connection for so OpenXR is doing the abstraction to all the mixed reality devices, and OpenXR is if StereoKit sitting on top of OpenXR allows StereoKit to just leverage OpenXR and these device compatibility. And as you can see, it supports HoloLens, mixed reality, Windows mixed reality devices, Oculus devices, both desktop and Quest, Steam VR, then some random Vario and Monado, and eventually everywhere where OpenXR is. So as you can see on the left, we have built-in access interaction through inputs like hand and even eyes. That's interesting. And every UI element and model can be turned into movable and grabbable objects by wrapping this handle object around this. So as you can see, this avocado is like a regular model that is being loaded, and then just wrap this in a handle, and then you can just take it and move it around. And this is all being done basically in a line of, when loading the model, 2 lines of code. On the left, on the right
avocado, rotating an avocado in Venice. So.
Yes. Well, it could also be, it's not necessarily Venice. It could also be
Amsterdam.
I would rather say Hamburg, because they have something similar looking, but I don't know. The Speicherstadt, but I don't know. It could be some random background, Venice, Amsterdam, Hamburg, or somewhere.
Well, an avocado fits well everywhere. So
yes, exactly. Well, on the right-hand side, you have the spatial understanding. So StereoKit has this world object around the user, which basically tracks all this information: spatial understanding, orientation, boundaries, occlusions, and so on and so forth, which is obviously very helpful if you develop for AR. And also, and because I just said boundaries or guardian space are often used in VR scenarios to define this safe area where you can move around freely without risking to run into your cat. Well, no, your furniture or hitting walls. I mean, so if you're a Windows mixed reality user or whatever, so you see these white boundaries or with the index as well. This is Guardian is called with index, if I remember correctly, and boundaries is called with Windows mixed reality. They are defined through the VR system usually, but StereoKit can access those, and so you could basically leverage those and could get them through the boundaries. Through the
remember that with the Windows mixed reality set, the first thing you were asked to was map in the room, so that it can tell you how far you can go when you move.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, this never takes into account the cabling issue, but yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. So so code first. It is. I mean, I talked about this. So on the left-hand side, you can see it's C# based. I even have amazing compiler directives doing some. So this is taken from my Azure Spatial Anchors implementation for StereoKit. So when this runs in debug mode, I'm just using a mock spatial anchors wrapper. So I'm mocking many calls because obviously I just don't want to run this on the lens at that time. Just want to run this on the flat screen, like on a display, because of quicker deployment times. And then you can see other things like adding this stepper thing. I get into this a little bit later. And then, but yeah, as you can see, that's pretty straightforward C# and .NET code. We talked about the UI. The UI is pretty, how to put this, trivial, not necessarily in a bad way. So it looks very simple, and that is first of all obviously one of the reasons. So if you compare this to the MRTK or something like that, this looks much simpler, and it's also much simpler to implement, which is a good thing. It can be themed, which is a bit more challenging, but it can be themed. So I've seen builds of StereoKit application that mimics the MRTK design guidelines. Mixed reality, I don't know what the exact. I should know how this is being called. Oh man, hopefully no one is seeing this and mail to David or my manager.
Well, I would say if no one is seeing this, I mean, we're doing something wrong. But
true.
That's another story.
All right. So the interesting thing with the UI, and this is very important to know, the engine uses an immediate mode UI. So an updated version of the menu is rendered with every frame. While this sounds a little bit odd at first, it does have some neat advantages, right? So because very little state is actually being stored from each frame to each frame. You can add, remove, and change your UI elements whenever you feel this is necessary. And this is also very easy for you to implement a UI, because you don't have much things to take into account, because you just have a button, and that's the button. And if the button changes for the next frame, then the button changes for the next frame. So that is one of the ideas and principles for StereoKit. And you will find that you often have much less UI code with far fewer places for things to go wrong, right? And this is basically what it's all about, right? Having a simple API that gets you up and running as fast as possible. So yeah, this is basically just an immediate slide, so I'll just skip this one. So we talked about this device support based on OpenXR. So we have VR headset support, AR headset support out of the box. This is basically what you can see here is just the initial demo template. So when you when you start Visual Studio and select a .NET Core demo project, so this is what you see. The left side is what you see, and if you start a new WP project, this is basically what you see. The right hand side is basically what you get when you deploy this to the lens. It also brings all the interactions, so you can see like the regular MR controller interactions. On the left-hand side, the built-in HoloLens 2 hand tracking. If you do this on a flat screen, like on your desktop, you have just a simple mouse. Well, you have just one hand and a mouse, and can walk around with the regular WASD. If you want to extend this, like bringing the Ultra Leap stuff in there or the Port 6 interactions, as long as this is an OpenXR extension, it's pretty easy to implement. So, of course, you need to write some C code, but who doesn't love to write some C code? And woo! But anyway, so it's pretty easy and pretty straightforward, even for extending this. So yeah, it's definitely worth checking this out. And even if you are not interested in interaction extensions, you can write new bindings, for example, in Rust. So if you're not happy with C# or .NET, just use Rust instead. Or Java, if you really love pain. No, don't. Well, no, I'm not judging.
That's not a good advice, my friend.
I'm not judging. The core of StereoKit is written in C. The API usually is consumed from .NET C#. The UI, we talked about this, is defined as, can you see, this is what you can see here. The UI is defined through code. We'd already talked about dynamic loading of assets at runtime. And because obviously this is just the .NET framework that is accessing the C core, we can leverage the full .NET features or the full C#. What is it, 11 now? 10?
11. The
11.
last one released with .NET 7 is 11.
Okay, so we can't use .NET 7, so 11 not yet. So it's C# 10 with .NET 6 only. Only. But I mean, take that Unity scripts with Mono.
Well, considering that there aren't really big breaking changes between .NET 6 and .NET 7, for example, I've read the experience of the developer of Paint.NET, which took like 5 minutes to move it's up to .NET 7. I would expect StereoKit to pick up .NET 7 pretty soon as well.
Okay, so this is just some random code, basically just the minimum code that is required for getting things done. I skipped through this because I want to get a bit further ahead here. So it's more than a game engine. This is something really interesting because runtime asset loading is really something that is not really common. So first of all, you have a cross-platform file picker. which is already nice. And this file picker allows you to select, for example, assets and load them dynamically. And as you can see here in this short video, it's a rather, well, not large scene, but or a large model, but it starts loading the model, then starts loading the texture, and then applying everything else, lighting and so on and so forth. So in order to not completely wreck your scene, it does this iteratively. So yeah, which is pretty neat if you are looking for something that allows you for, I don't know, like dynamic content creation based on a web API or something. This is so StereoKit is worth considering. So this is a quick demo of an app called Molecular from Chris. He's a mixed reality engineer here based in Berlin as well. This is actually the winner of the StereoKit Mixed Reality Dev Days 2022 hackathon. And basically the idea is you go to it calls the PubChem database, which contains all the information about molecules, bindings, similar molecules, and so on and so forth. And renders those. And as you can see, so I'm now loading similar molecules, selecting and then loading the molecule and then grabbing the molecule and aligning the molecules. So pretty neat stuff. This app is is available for the HoloLens, and it's in the how's it called? Microsoft Store, Windows Store nowadays?
Microsoft Store.
Yeah, in the Microsoft Store. Mm-hmm. So so that obviously helps speeding up the development cycle. So less complex tooling, because we just have a single tool. We don't need to work in Unity, then export the stuff and run this in Visual Studio again. Debugging is a lot easier. I mean, you probably remember the fun of debugging HoloLens applications, or wait, the pain of debugging HoloLens applications. And if I remember correctly, when you stopped doing this for a living, we still had the mono scripts or the mono stuff on the mono backend. So that
I was on the verge of the migration to the new C++
yes,
runtime.
Exactly. And remember when I found out how to do this debugging with IL2 CPP, which eventually even made it into the official documentation.
I remember
with all my screenshots and so, because I recently discovered this because I was checking this out myself. I was like, these screenshots look very familiar. Anyhow, so now it's even easier to debug. And as I said, you have this desktop mode for quicker dev cycles. Actually, so I took the time to do some measurement on the development cycle for a HoloLens, right? So from Unity, so starting up a project. And I did not pick the time because I have a mentee. She is into mixed reality. She's a mixed reality engineer. So I'm helping her. And we recently set up Unity, and it took an entire hour for me to set up a simple HoloLens mixed reality project using MRTK and so on and so forth. So it took an entire hour, and I knew what I was doing. So, but I'm not talking about this time. No, it's just, okay, I have the project ready. I drop in a cube, and then I just go like build. This obviously transforms all the stuff into this C++ project, puts it into your solution folder. Then you start the Visual Studio. I'm not taking into account the starting time of Visual Studio, and I'm not taking into account anything else, just the pure build times of Unity and then Visual Studio. I never got under 4 minutes for this entire thing, from basically building to deploying this to the lens. And it transferred 122 megabytes to the lens, which is quite something. Then obviously the second run was for me to go back, just modify, like transform the cube a bit, like move it a bit back and forth, rebuild again. And then the second run took me almost 2 minutes, but only transferred 1 megabyte. So it's considerably faster, the consecutive builds, unless obviously you introduce some changes to scripts, packages, and so on and so forth, because then you're back to more than 4 minutes. And if you are really doing something crazy with external packages and so on and so forth, you can be as well over the 12 to 15 minutes marks for a simple build. And I did the same with StereoKit. First run, simple project, single cube, 1 minute 10, around 1 minute 10. One test was even quicker. It transferred 28 megabytes, and all the following runs were around 1 minute. So actually they were below 1 minute, but one of them ran over a minute. So I don't know, I'd say like it's around 1 minute, but it transferred 10 megabytes. This is all, obviously, your miles may vary. We recently had a thing where I did this with Marcello on his Surface, I don't know, 6 or 7 or something. And oh boy, this poor little computer. So yes, it took more than these 1 minute.
Well, the Surface Pro is not exactly the most powerful developer machine on the market. If it's the 6, so 3 models ago,
yeah, exactly,
doesn't help.
Exactly. So so it's what I'm trying to say is it's just much quicker even for you, and it's more rewarding for you as a developer, because it's so annoying to just sit there and do nothing and just wait for it. This is really not nice.
Well, you can watch Netflix or YouTube videos. I mean,
yeah, but it's not long enough. I mean, if it would be, let's say, plus 25 minutes, okay, sure. Any episode of Rick and Morty would do perfect. But it's like, let's say 10 minutes or 12 minutes, and then it's like, okay, I need to stop. No, you don't want to do this. So this is basically just showing the code for the basic, like going through the details of a basic template. I don't know. Is there anything that that you want me to explain in more detail?
No, to be honest, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Again, I'm not into this the mixed reality world since a few years, as we were discussing before. What I like is that being all based on .NET, C# and code, for a traditional developer like me, it seems it's a less challenging entry point to mixed reality. When I started doing things around mixed reality, I remember it was quite hard for me because, and still, I didn't reach a very high level of knowledge and quality of my work. Because I'm a traditional developer, so I do web apps, I do Windows apps, I do backend. So moving into the Unity world was quite a shock.
Oh yeah.
So I like here instead that it seems everything more on the C# .NET code base.
It is, and as you can see here in the red bracket, this is basically just defining the UI, right? So you have this window begin, then you have a button with a direct definition of what the button is doing, basically just adding stuff to a list. And then you have a text field which gets the messages, and then the window is basically finished. Yeah. And as you can see here, I'm using link. I'm able to use link, which is really good. I mean, this is what we developers.
The problem I had with Unity is that even for the simplest thing, like I want a button and I want to do something when I click on the button, was quite challenging. But not really because Unity or because Unity is bad, but because I don't come from a game developer background where probably these kind of things come naturally. But I'm a business developer trying to build a business application which uses mixed reality.
Exactly.
I like that this StereoKit seems to be more aligned into this vision. So I'm not planning to become a game developer. I'm not planning to build any games, but I need to build an enterprise app with a mixed reality side.
Yeah, exactly. And the next two quick samples actually also show this, because here I'm just using the Authentication with Azure Active Directory. And what I'm just doing is pulling the the Azure Identity package and the Identity Client package, and creating the client with all the authorities and client IDs and so on and so forth. And then I just do this acquire token async, which everyone who has ever used the MSAL knows. So obviously,
I was about to say that. I mean, since this is .NET, I would expect that the way you integrate a Microsoft identity in this app is the same you would do to integrate this in a desktop app or in a web app.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The only thing, especially when it comes to authentication, is here, obviously, acquire token silent will always fail since you are not having a browser storage to store the token.
So you don't have single sign-on, basically.
Yeah, so you will always fall into this acquire token interactive, which then pops up the browser window, and then it does all the MFA and things as you are used to, because that's done through the browser and through the MSAL or AD in that regard. Okay, so the last thing, well, actually, it should be the second to last thing, but this is, I get to the reason why. This is me just basically using the access token I have received to query user data through the MS Graph API, pulling the graph client from NuGet, and then just basically building my graph client, providing the access token.
You can do like a minority dashboard or a minority report dashboard with all your Office documents.
Exactly. That would probably be a good application of MS Graph, AAD authentication, and StereoKit. Yep, yeah, I agree. So originally, and this is pure blaming now. Originally, I planned also to show my Azure Spatial Anchors demo here. And I started yesterday being happy, and then I realized, oh, there's an update. Okay, so it wasn't working out of the box. And I was like, that's weird. Why aren't the anchors stored? Why is it crashing? Oh, there's an update. Okay, so I applied the update of the SDK.
Let me guess, everything stopped working.
Exactly. This update, it causes some kind of file not found internally in this SDK exception, which I can't track down, obviously. And it's dying. It misses some DLLs. I don't know. So that's it. But the old one isn't working with the current Spatial Anchor service anymore. So I probably need to reach out to the mixedreality, to the Azure Spatial Anchors PM that I know, and tell him like, fix this now.
Well, you have some homework for the next episode. So if you want to show the demo.
Yeah, if it's working, then definitely yes. And overall, we talked about this. StereoKit is just a NuGet package. You can, if you want to have the basic project template, you can download the templates from the Visual Studio Marketplace, but you don't need to do this. You can just run this as well with some command line magic. If you want to use Visual Studio Code or Rider, that's what you need to do anyway. So you need to create a new console app, pull in the package, and then just start writing mixed reality apps. That's basically it.
Awesome.
And everything is on StereoKit.net. It's all the repositories regarding StereoKit and the StereoKit samples and so on and so forth are under the StereoKit org. And yeah, just go there, check it out, have fun, and post your stuff or write a comment or ping us on Mastodon, Twitter, whatever we are going to use the next few weeks after Elon has bought Twitter.
Well, I'm already also on Mastodon, so I
am. Oh, really? Oh, let me know. Me too.
All right.
Okay, so that's it.
Thank you.
What do you think?
This was really interesting. Again, I really like that there's a path for C# developers who are interested in building mixed reality apps, which goes beyond Unity or the Unreal Engine, which they are very powerful. You can do amazing things, but they are also very game developer focused.
Yeah.
So if you don't come from this kind of background, it's not really easy to pick up.
That's right.
Pick up on that.
This is indeed challenging, especially since you already have this different. I mean, in Unity, you need your mouse very often, while on Visual Studio, we almost never use the mouse because we do most of the things in code or through keyboard shortcuts. And then you're in Unity and then you're like, oh no, I need to go to the inspector. No, I need to go to the project view. And then it's going to be like, So yeah.
All right. I guess we can wrap up this episode. Thank you again, Marc, for this presentation. It was really interesting. We would like to give you a sneak peek of the next episode, but as usual, we don't know what we are going to talk about. So surprise. Well, no, we have one topic. If you can make the demo working for the next time, we can showcase your demo. So
one thing though, next, you probably are not surprised because in 2 weeks on Thursday, I probably will be in the plane flying to Spain for a week. It's not officially vacation.
I'm very disappointed and very sad about this.
We could as well pull this to, I don't know, another day of that week, but I'm just in the plane at this time. So, and if we happen to record this while
you can record from the plane, it could be a fun episode. I mean,
I was actually thinking of recording this from Spain, so I can basically sit at, I don't know what, 19 degrees at the terrace. You have like the ocean in my background.
I will stop it here because I mean I don't want YouTube to ban us for profanity and bad language. So that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, good. So yeah, we'll see.
Right.
But maybe I have the demo running, but probably not if I'm in Spain because I don't have the devices with me. But yeah, we'll see.
All right. Thank you again, Marc, and see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye. Bye-bye.